All right, if you watch a show for any length of time, I have this criteria before I do a restaurant. First of all, I've got to love it. And that usually means there's a chef who's an owner, and maybe a front of the house guy who's also an owner, and if they're there, they're on the floor, they interact, they care about the place, right? I mean, a city of 20,000 options, you've got to be good to get on my book. Well, this is the place. Two great partners. We have Marco Canora, who's one of my favorite chefs in the city, and Paul Greco. The restaurant's Hearth. Opened up 8 or 9 years ago here in the corner of First Avenue and 12th Street. A few years later, they opened a little wine bar a couple hundred yards down called Terroir that was just great, wonderful food, super wines. Paul's an amazing wine guy. Michael's a great chef. Hearth, Terroir, that's what's on the menu today. I'm Mike Colameco, chef and food lover. Come with me and meet some of today's most interesting chefs and their crews that work in their kitchens. Real chefs, real restaurants, and real recipes. That's what's on the menu. This is Mike Colameco's Real Food. So today we'll visit Hearth and the wine bar Terroir and the partnership of Chef Marco Canora and sommelier Paul Greco, understudies of Danny Meyer and Tom Colicchio. Paul's a great sommelier who excels in really finding interesting offbeat wines to pair with Mark's food. Marco's a great chef in his own right and has been for years. You're not going to find a lot of dots or foam here in this kitchen. Just well thought out, delicious, wonderfully executed food. Bingo. Action.
Are we going?
We're rolling. So tell me about this plate. This is your in-house charcuterie plate.
Yep, we offer charcuterie for two. Duck, rabbit, chicken.
Mixed
Livers,
liver.
yep, mixed liver, farine.
Beautiful.
And then rabbit ballantine.
So ballantine, for those of you that aren't 1,000 years old like me, this goes back to the day, man. Force meat?
Yep.
And then wrapped up with...
the liver and the heart and the kidney of the rabbit. Prosciutto in there.
I know I always ask people this, but I forget the answer. How'd you get into this business? What drew you as a young kid coming up to decide it was check pants and white jackets and aprons and 16-hour days?
Well, it's kind of funny. It started in high school. I got a job at the local restaurant, upstate New York, Milton, New York, on Route 9W, Ship Lantern Inn, continental cuisine.
Steaks, chopped, seafood.
Right, exactly. And we like to do everything hand sliced here, rather than the paper thin. And I like that chewy. It's different. So that was my first taste of the restaurant business. And I tell you, man, I was hooked because there was a lot of energy. It was dynamic.
How do you do the duck? Just a cure? It's not smoked.
5 days in salt. No, it's not smoked. And then I got to know the chef, and he was the super cool guy, and he had knives and heat and fire, and it was just, it really resonated with me, and I got that bug. I tried other things, and I always came back to cooking and restaurants, for different reasons when I was younger, right? There's always booze and there's always girls, and it's it's like college,
So
we
got
make
radishes,
our pickles.
we got cauliflower.
These are cipollini onions, little turmeric cauliflowers.
With your own fresh turmeric that I
We're
saw
in the heart
downstairs.
of ramp season right now. And we make our own beer mustard.
And this is great acid because all this is going to be fatty. At some point in
exactly.
your mouth, you're going to want, you have all this fat around
Crunch
your
and
tongue,
acid.
crunch and acid to sort of cleanse.
Yep. And a glass of wine from Paul Greco.
Whatever Paul Greco recommends.
Exactly.
I'm an acid hound. I love acid-driven wines. Now they, on the surface, sort of scare people because when you start talking about, acid, people think of sour and sharp and a lemon, and it's like, I don't want to drink that. But they forget about this combination of food and drink. Think of acid like you would a Zamboni. As a Canadian guy, gotta love Zambonis. Grew up loving hockey, so either I was gonna be a hockey star or I was gonna drive a Zamboni. I will never be a hockey star, but maybe I could still drive a Zamboni. So, Zamboni goes on the ice between periods, cleans the ice, lays down a brand new sheet of ice, you go and play hockey. Acid does the same thing on your palate. You have a bite of food, sip of wine, the acid cleans the palate so that you want to have another bite of food, bite of food, and it just goes on this beautiful rotation. That's why Somms are acid hounds.
The pasta toy that you're so stoked with.
Yes.
Benno's got one. Michael White has one.
Yep. Carmelini's got one. Filled it in with semolina.
Semolina flour. Pre-measured amount of water.
Well, it always changes. It's one of those things. There's no recipe.
Moisture.
You got to know what you're looking for.
Right.
Different flours hydrate differently. We have to let this run now for like 35 seconds. All right. Let's see where we're at. You want to feel it?
I do, actually. We've got it. Oh yeah.
Pretty much there.
I'm liking it. Oh, look at that. That's the shape. It's almost getting there.
You can already
You already
get
get the idea. This beautiful coxcomb shape.
Exactly.
With the little ridges at the top, and then I mean, that's, you know, that's too cool.
That's the better length.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
Look at
ridiculous.
That. It's ridiculous.
Made on 1st Avenue and 12th Street.
Yeah.
That part of Italy. And tonight these are going to be with what, the meat ragu?
The pork ragu.
Pork ragu.
Yep. That's incredible.
While I do think about wine in somewhat of a tunnel vision, I'm lucky in that I work with Marco Canora, whose dishes are well balanced. So my ability to select wine is based upon the fact that I can select anything I want because I know it's going to work with his dishes. His dishes do not require one specific type of wine, or there's not one dish that definitely needs X to shine. I can truly buy anything from anywhere in the wine world and know that it's going to work with his balanced dishes. That, for me as a wine director, my life is now so frickin' easy.
What I love also about your food is there's this straightforwardness to it. Like you said, I mean, you're not a dots and foam guy for the most part. It's
No tweezers.
no tweezers. Thanks. Good. Woo. It's kind of cooking I like. It's like, but it just delivers.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really good, and then you go to eat it, and it's like, wow. It just tastes as good or often much better. We're talking about these things again. You're talking about these freaka. So this is
freaka.
from, one more time, for
Green wheat.
green
wheat berries. And they kind of have a smokiness to them. They got a great texture.
Oh man.
It's a superfood, right? It's full of nutrients.
Almost
'cause
like
it's young.
Almost like a barley
Yeah,
chewiness to it,
farro.
that farro, that's
Yeah.
wonderful, but really nuanced, long flavor.
And smoky too from
Yeah.
the way they harvest it with the
crazy.
fire. So there's a subtle smokiness in there that I love. So the freaka goes in, and then we have some super sweet sugar snap peas, first of the season. And then
Some
pickled
pickled?
chopped ramps, right? A good amount of mint.
Little sea salt.
A little sea salt, my friend's olive oil from Siena. So, a simple salad, but it's like everything, it's all good stuff in there. So now we'll go get the fish.
That's good.
Olive oil poached Block Island swordfish, line caught swordfish. We cook it at 180 degrees Fahrenheit with a circulator.
Oh, that's perfectly cooked, like a
Super-
bullseye.
Yeah, super fatty.
And it's delicious.
Some of the salad. I really like having a little bit of this trout roe on there. It just adds that salty pop. And then we have these beautiful mustard greens.
These
From,
are just tiny baby, just in
Yep,
season.
from
And I was
Lonnie Farms.
Eating some of them, they're peppery, they're smoky, they're just like flavor bombs.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Just a little of the pickling liquid from the
ramps.
ramps.
Little turn of the peppermint, little
Yep,
pinch
a
of
little
salt,
sea
little
salt.
drizzle of olive oil, just to give it a
Just a tiny,
sheen and flavor.
the tiniest bit, right? And these are just kind of laid about.
That's really pretty.
Yep.
That's really pretty.
And that's what.
And that's going to taste phenomenal. Yeah, I know. You hate to say when it's your own food, but
So
you know
tender.
what? It's the swordfish is like butter. Just get a little
Really
bit of
nice.
this, a little leaf.
It's got the acid, right? The fish is rich. Good texture, right? The freaka has a cool mouthfeel to it.
It's another winner, dude. So we went from super fatty charcuterie dish to this. If you're feeling like you want to start light.
Perfect for spring, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right, we've got a couple of minutes to burn before family meal. Let's go down to Terroir, just a few steps down the street, where you're going to find a tremendously well-focused wine list and really easy food that works beautifully with it, prepared by the chef, Kirsten Davenport.
Parsley?
And this is your corner,
And
man.
this
Like,
is-
you're not
this is
moving.
where I
This
live.
is like cooking on a boat. It's like one step to the right, one step to the left. And it's real, I mean, the idea, the conceit behind this is just really wonderful bar food for a wine bar.
Simple,
And,
rustic.
and so successful that this was the first one, and then Tribeca was the second one, and now there's Murray Hill, and we're going to roll them out. It's like a
Absolutely.
great formula.
It is.
Real simple food, real easy to construct. You're in the kitchen having a blast, and the customers love it because it's simple price point, works great with wine.
Absolutely.
One of the great things that Paul's done is taking the seriousness and stuffiness out of the wine business. Case in point, check out this wine list. I remember the first time I was over at Terroir when it just opened, and it was like a high school notebook. It was like a I don't know what the list looks like today. It's been a while. It's a 3-ring binder like I had in high school. It has like bumper stickers on the outside. And the wine descriptions, it was all like tongue-in-cheek.
A wine list is exactly that, a list of wines. And back to my beginning in the industry, I was fascinated with everything about this. I was like, well, a list of wines does not begin to do justice to all of these different areas. So one of the things my wine program had to be was a book of stories. And wine, it doesn't have to be so goddamn precious. And so I love it, and I'm happy to put it up on a pedestal, and I revere it. But we should drink the goddamn thing. We should drink more of it more often.
Fried sausage, really herby, really crunchy, crispy. Housemade. These are addictive. And a late harvest Riesling, so it's a Spätlese. Residual sugar, a little bit of sweetness, and right behind it, bang. This bracing acidity, minerality comes through, and a super herbaceous quality.
Summer of Riesling is coming very soon.
Summer of Riesling.
2012. Take over the world.
Summer of Riesling is going to be here by the time this airs. Here you go, brother. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Did I get that Mascarelli t-shirt? No Berlusconi, no Barrique. Is that your t-shirt?
It's damn right, Mike.
You should have
But you know what? When we opened up Terroir, the first one in East Village in 2008, this could apply to the humor part of this whole thing a little bit. You know, with all of these incredible stories in the wine world, it's like, why does our collateral suck so much? Or why don't we have any at all? Why isn't there any fun stuff? Why don't we have bobblehead dolls of winemakers out there? There are people who love wine, but why don't we have the paraphernalia that goes along with it? If you love Bartolo Mascarello wine, other than having a bottle of his wine, you don't have a poster of Bartolo Mascarello.
No action figure, no Barrique that rolls around.
It was like, well, why can't I do that? And as I was thinking through this, I happened to see my youngest son at the time, who was wearing a Che Guevara shirt. And I'm looking at that going, okay, you know, terrorist, terroirist. Why don't I do a line of shirts that focus on my favorite terroir-ist?
I'm here with George, who's actually, for the day-to-day, you're the chef in the kitchen.
Yeah,
I mean, Marco can't wear all the hats, so the truth of the matter is, in kitchen parlance, work has to be delegated, you're the guy.
Right, I'm the chef de cuisine.
This is going to be gnocchi, and this is kind of done by feel.
Yeah, there's no recipe because there's only 2 ingredients, so.
Yeah, this is how my grandma used to do stuff, and this is why no one could do it when she died.
Right.
Cut it out, roll it, create these long little tubes, and then it's going to be chick, 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 chick. Looks good, chef. The gnocchis. Every restaurant has to feed its staff. This is called family meal. Well, here at Hearth, it's not just about reheating leftovers and scraps and throwing them on a table. All right, I'm here with Marilyn Lee of Cambodian descent. So this is family. Today you've been working on family meal since you came in.
Yes, I have.
That was like your gig. Like you came in and you spent 5 hours doing family meal.
Yep.
And you're actually doing these really cool spring rolls. So I've got these little spring roll wrapper things.
Rice paper?
Rice paper, thank you for that word. Rice noodles?
It's rice vermicelli.
Rice vermicelli, fresh cilantro, what's this stuff?
Mint.
Mint, duh. These are all vegan or vegetarian? You're putting chicken in them?
It's pork.
Pork, duh. Okay, cucumber, bean sprouts, and then you made some kind of dipping sauce?
I made a fish sauce with, it's a fish sauce with peanuts. It has vinegar.
And we're not done yet. So that's the one course, and you did some kind of chickeny thing.
I'm making a lemongrass chicken with bell peppers and onions. Sauteed.
Family meal.
Yes.
5 hours worth.
Yes. It better be worth it.
So this is just like one day a week. Everyone alternate. The cooks get to do family meal.
No, just today because
Because it's your birthday?
No.
No. Because it's his birthday? Because you felt like it?
Yes, because I want to show off my skills, I guess.
We've been hounding her for a week.
I was about to say, this is something no, but this is great. I mean, when we were talking about when I got family, it was like whatever was going bad in the fridge. You know, chicken wings that were half rotten, last week's salad, and if you didn't like it, hell with you.
Yeah.
Drink 3 espressos and keep quiet. So tell me about what's going on in here, because you've got, they said octopus, so I'm like, well, Avenue U or that other guy from Spain.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, no, we're buying this from Florida. So this
Yeah.
is domestically sourced.
This domestically sourced is the smallest we can get at least domestically. They're about 1 pound to 3 pounds.
So it's steaming.
It's steaming.
Which is why this lid's been on it super, super tight, this Jiffy Pop looking thing. And a couple of hours, hour and a half.
Yeah, this has been about 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and a half. Depends on the size.
When you're ready, we'll take a peek. Actually tied on with a piece of twine.
Fingers.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I'll let you take that.
I'll just take it right off here. Well, that's insane.
Yeah.
The ingredients in America are just astonishing now. And I'll come to a place like this, and I'll meet you, and we'll go into your walk-in box. And you'll just open up stuff, and the carrots, you know who grew them. The chicken, you'll tell me who that farmer was.
Yep.
The pork shoulders that come in are from?
Yeah, it's from Bev Eggleston.
Right.
Eco-friendly farms.
Eco-friendly farms upstate.
You know, it's really kind of cool because it's becoming more and more old world in that regard, right? It used to be, you know, you had a few purveyors and they brought you everything. And you know, when I worked at Cibreo in Florence, what struck me there was that you had the rabbit guy, and you had the ricotta guy, and you had the egg guy, and you had the fish guy who only handled sardines, and everything you got was
Very
an individual. And it's nice to see the trend going back that way, you know?
We're down in Manchuela.
Okay, with Paul's vast wine knowledge and Marco's great menu, it's time to pair some dishes with wine, and let's see what happens.
So this is a ricotta sformato. It's almost like a savory custard that's cooked in a mold. It's honestly mostly cheese, Parmesan, ricotta, some egg to bind, and then a good amount of olive oil in the batter. And then this is a ramp pesto where we char the leaves and then make a pesto with it.
In terms of matching wine and food, there is a science to it, certainly. And it's all right to say it all goes together, but to be honest, no, it doesn't all.
Right.
And some simple rules that you can follow to make this whole thing work. 3 things. First way to match, and the most fun, but the most complicated and hard as hell to get on top of, component parts. So you look at the dish and you find the predominant component part. And then you look at the wine or the beverage and say, okay, what is its component part? Opposites match, similar things match. Most people think when they're matching with food that it's always the protein, that it's always the main element that is the ticket. It might not be that.
Right.
And chances are it could be how you cook it.
Right, could be the sauce, could be
It
how
could
you
be,
cooked it. could
so
be-
you got to pay attention to all of these things. So quickly into the wines. We're doing 2 here. First will be a sherry, the most underappreciated wine on the planet Earth, without question. This is a Fino, so bone dry and good crisp acidity. So if I had to break this down, the component part in here I'm looking at is good acidity. Okay, and for the other beverage, we're going to go to wine proper, a Pinot Bianco from Trentino Alto Adige. Aromatics are important, but aromatics, they're not going to lead you in this match. And this one is broader, richer on the palate. And when you're matching foods and wines, you don't want one part to overwhelm the other. You don't want the wine to overwhelm the food or the food to overwhelm the beverage. You want the two to come together up here and form a third thing. And when you have this in your mouth with the sherry, you still taste the ricotta, you feel the weight and richness, and you still get the flavors of the sherry. It guides underneath, lifts it up, skates it across the palate, so that you actually want to have another big bite of this goddamn thing and another sip of wine.
This is a poached Florida red snapper. It's poached in a ham consomme, which sounds like kind of a wacky thing, but we make smoked ham here. We have been for about 1.5 years. And then a lot of peas, pea shoots, some crispy prosciutto for some more ham, and then we're pouring the consomme table side.
That smoked pork stock, smell that thing.
And I'm getting more than that. I can smell the peas in this.
It's all perfect spring with
Yeah.
umami. Oh my God, is that good. Anyway, so grape juice wise though, for the white we went to Santorini,
Greece.
Kutso Yiannopoulos. Again, we're going for lightness, acid driven. It's a very lean, mean wine. It's not very expressive. So here we're going to Austria.
Yeah, this
Well,
is a-
Frankish is the varietal.
Yep.
But again, I'm still dealing with fish, so I want a lighter red. And so get the fish, get the pieces of pork in here.
I think it's almost too much for this. I prefer the white. I think
It
the
is,
white.
it is without question too big for the fish. It's
Too-
dominating the fish
right.
and it's toning down the pork.
Yeah,
so
we-
what I thought was going to happen was not going to happen. We're going to do a little Gewürztraminer Weinbach Alsace. And then we're going to go to Spain, La Casilla by Ponce. We're down in Manchuela, and the grape is Bobal. Dark and brooding like a song from Bauhaus. All right, let's get some food.
Yeah, and we're gonna pair this with this wonderful dish that I first tasted when you guys were uptown in Siena. So talk to me about this incredible consomme, this broth that's like double, triple infused almost.
Listen, I think the measure of any great chef are his or her stocks. There's a purity, a cleanness, a lightness about those. So you're going to focus on the short rib?
Well, I'm gonna go there first.
Okay, I'm going to do the beef tongue.
I know this is gonna stand up to it. This has weight to it, it has body to it, it's got that residual sugar, but the acid behind it, I like it.
This, oh my God, this is food for the soul. And now I'm pointing at my belly right now because I don't know exactly where my soul is.
It's around there.
But food for the soul, food for the belly, and you want a wine that's going to bring you there too.
We have one more thing to do, and that's dessert.
Dessert on the way.
Brown butter pear cake. It's got pears been poached in white wine, some caramel sauce, walnut nougatine, and vanilla ice cream.
And you've got your own little
it's mine, yeah.
private sanctuary that's like 30 yards from the kitchen. You got a view of First Avenue, your own little door. You want to chill, you just go outside and chill, you get the thing going.
Sit and eat family meal out there sometimes if it's nice out.
Nice life.
So you got two wines in front of you. Both cool, sweet wines. One of these is going to be a brilliant match. One of these is going to die. So our first sweet
like a
wine
reality
is
show.
Jurançon
Okay.
from the southwest of France. Super cool. And that's on your right-hand side.
Yeah.
And one thing about sweet wines, the measure of greatness in a sweet wine is not the residual sugar. It's not how sweet it is. It's how much acid there is to balance out the sweetness. Now try the second one from Greece, Muscat. Just smell that alone. It's like a liquid version of a fig Newton. Sweeter, richer, more powerful. So for our pear brown butter cake.
One of these will make it, and one of them won't. Ta-da!
Someone's going home.
Thank you. Whatever. I don't watch it. Yes, exactly.
You're out. What does Heidi Klum say?
I don't.
When she kicks you off?
I don't.
Auf Wiedersehen,
Auf
Michael.
Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. So try it with the Jurançon.
Does one of them have to go home?
Sorry.
Does one of these have to go home?
Well, you know what? If we were to just sit down and have a glass of wine with some residual sugar, just to enjoy a beautiful afternoon, have a little bit of cheese, this is where you want to go. But with this dessert, I know what you said, but for me, this gets crushed in the mix.
Yeah, this is big. This
one
actually envelops
still
it.
stands
Yeah.
up. You still taste the muscat and the pear as you move on, as it moves across your palate. So if you're matching, you must pay attention to this one particular rule. A sweet wine must be sweeter than the dessert.
Mr. Greco, always a pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure. I always learning something on my show. I'm gonna give me something to talk about for days on end, man.